card right now, so we'll just be a little quiet and make sure the stream is working. Three, two, one. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Wasting Your Time podcast here live on YouTube for the first time ever. I am your host, John Wilson, and of course, joining me for this episode is my co-host for the wrestling episodes, Roberto Duke. Bobby, how are you?
Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm doing fantastic. I'm here live with you guys. This is going to be really interesting how bad of a potty mouth I am, so it's going to be cool to have an actual audience to hear me cuss and go all cynical on you guys.
All right, let's jump into it. All Out, that's what we are discussing today. This Saturday on pay-per-view. So if we have some technical issues, this is the first time we're attempting this. So apologies in advance. The audio edition of this will be out later in the week. So we are. I don't want that.
Which you can find on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud apps. If you're wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us there.
Yes, that is correct. So let's jump right into it. Let's start off with some news. Really, only one big news story as related to this episode. That would be NXT is moving to Wednesday nights on USA to basically go one-on-one with whatever the AEW show is going to be called. Who knows what it's going to be called? I'm not 100% sure what it will be called, but to be determined. Technically, I don't know where do you start with this one, Bobby?
Well, it's kind of cool that there's this new generation of fans who are going to be introduced to the Monday Night Wars, but just on a Wednesday, and seeing how these two high caliber companies are going to go head to head with each other on the basis of entertainment and high quality wrestling. So this is going to probably be even better than the Monday Night Wars. But again, we all know that NXT is not going to be going to war against them. They already have a brand that's pretty focused and has a fan base already set. AEW has already made it very clear that there's going to be no kind of a war because they have no intention to. So I mean, I think it's a cavalcade of just awesome wrestling that we're going to be getting, and it's just going to be excellent for just the fans. And we're just going to see hopefully a new bar set when it comes to in-ring wrestling.
I would agree with that, yes. There was a lot of concerns when the rumors that NXT was going to be moving to basically cable, that Vince McMahon would be involved, and the NXT that we know would be ruined as we know it, and so on and so forth. But basically it's been confirmed almost that Vince McMahon will have mostly hands-off on this one, let Triple H do what he does with this product. Basically all they're doing is, if you factor in commercials and stuff, they're basically adding a half hour of TV time to the current NXT product. So
basically,
not really much.
Yeah, so I think it's nothing to nothing to worry about. Everything's
speaking
fine.
Of AEW, let's talk about their TV tapings upcoming. They've sold out Boston and Philly, but they are doing what I hoped they would do. When we first initially discussed this back in January, that would be run smaller venues, and most of the venues that they're going to are between 5 and 10,000. Sold out Boston, Philly, Pittsburgh, and was it Charleston? Tickets moving a little slower.
Something like that, yeah.
And then I guess they announced Charlotte, North Carolina yesterday. So staying on the East Coast for the first few tapings.
The northeast,
WCW territory,
southeast kind of territories. Yeah, that's where I was alluding to.
WCW territory.
Those territories.
And smaller venues.
Good on them.
The interesting story about ticket sales, speaking of which, apparently secondary market sales for the first TV taping are in the tank, according to Dave Meltzer. But there was an explanation due to the success of All Out. Basically, what was it? Sold out in 15 minutes or something like that. So the scalpers got a hold of it, like a huge block of the number I heard was like almost 4,000 tickets. And they're not going as fast as people hoped. So currently on some of the secondary markets, you can get AEW tickets for $12 US for their first TV taping. So
Man.
apparently AEW got word of this, and then the scalpers. It's tougher for the scalpers to get tickets now. They've implemented something different for that. So we shall see how that pans out in the future.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, man, $12 to go see some of the first AEW shows. It's tempting, but it's my moral fiber doesn't match up with that. So I much as I would love to go,
Yeah.
I'd rather just stick it at home.
So let's actually just jump right into the pay-per-view this Saturday on pay-per-view. $50 again. Not surprising. The first one, Double or Nothing being 50 surprised me a little. All Out being 50 doesn't surprise me as much. Let's we'll do our normal how we recap these shows. So if you're just joining us for the first time with the pay-per-views and stuff, we briefly skim over some of the undercard and stuff, and then we highlight 4 or 5 matches that we have more of an extended discussion on. We'll end the undercard thing with the Casino Battle Royal and the Joshi match, because that has title implications, apparently. So let's start with Private Party versus Angelico versus Jack Evans. I'm assuming this is a showcase match for Private Party after, because they're heading into the first. I believe they're facing the Young Bucks in the first round of the tag tournament. So I'm believing this is a nice tune-up match for them. Yeah, I totally see Private Party getting the win here, just showcasing their talents and stuff, because they have big plans for them.
Yeah, considering the push they've been getting on Being the Elite and all the shows, I think that this is their match to win, and to really showcase that they are a big contender in this whole tag team division, especially when we've only been given just a handful of different tag teams. These guys are definitely the standout next to the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. So I'm definitely
this team
going
was
with
handpicked by the Bucks to join AEW. I think they saw a video of them or something and was like, exactly, we'll have these guys. So let's move on. This match was basically announced yesterday. SCU versus Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt. I don't really...
This one I'm very excited.
This is going to be...
I think it's just going to go...
Yeah, this is going to go off the rails. Seeing it, I'm going with SCU on this one. It wouldn't surprise me if the other team won, but it's SCU. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy,
Marco Stunt.
I can't remember
Marco
his name.
Stunt.
Marco Stunt. Yeah, I will remember that name eventually. He just came onto the scene for me, so I'm still getting interested. But I like what he's been doing on the show.
This would be a perfect.
I'm going with them.
If they had TV now, this would be a perfect match to set up with like a 2 or 3 week build. Just the ridiculousness that they can go with this one.
Mm-hmm. This would actually be a fun opening match for the first show.
I see this.
How crazy it would be. These are the characters that you're given. The amount of talent that's there. I think it'd be something that if any Laps fan or any new fan joining in would just see what these guys are capable of and the kind of entertainment that they bring. Yeah, I think you get a solid bunch of fans just on those guys.
This opening up the pay-per-view. SCU seems to be put in that spot of opening up the pay-per-views or like the shows lately. The ones we have seen, they opened up Double or Nothing, I believe, didn't they? Yeah, and then so I totally see this opening up the show. Just to get the crowd hyped up with just a bunch of crazy spots and stuff like that. Right. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's talk about the triple threat match. Joey Janela versus Darby Allin versus Jimmy Havoc. In a match where I'm assuming where weapons will be introduced early and very often. I don't know who to pick for this one. Gut is going with Darby Allin because they clearly have more in line with him than Janela and Havoc is just a good hand for the company, to me.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the same kind of boat, but I think because Jimmy's already been featured in a very high-profile match, and Joey Janela is always on the main front, I think this could be something that we can see what's called Jimmy Havoc come, or is it Jimmy Havoc come through. Yeah, we can definitely have Jimmy Havoc come in and pull up an upset and put his star just a little bit higher on the roster.
But like Guts going with Darby Allin, but like any of these three guys can win.
Oh yeah, same with me. Like I'm on the same boat. Like I feel like Darby, this is his match to win because of his star power. But I'm gonna go on just go opposite on you. Sorry, sorry, Janela, but it's gonna.
Oddly
be
enough, this match I believe is sponsored by Cracker Barrel for the show, according to a press release released today.
Of course.
I
wonder how many Cracker Barrels is Joey Janela going to go through.
Well, it fits because last year he had the Hangman Page street fight with and they used the Cracker Barrel on that one, so it's kind of full circle.
They did the Donkey Kong.
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah, they did the Donkey Kong a spot on that one. So
all right. So who are you going with?
I'm going for Jimmy Havoc.
I'm going with Darby Allin. Okay. Last one before we get into probably the bulk of the undercard, where we'll talk about the women's title match, the setup for the women's title match on the first show. Best Friends versus the Dark Order. Winner gets the first round bye in the AEW Tag Team Tournament. This one's been set up since Double or Nothing. In a perfect world, Best Friends would win and go to the finals and face the Young Bucks to kind of play off what happened on Being the Elite leading into Double or Nothing, where they threatened to kill the Young Bucks family. That would be payback, but also the Dark Order is, I think they're setting up them to be a credible threat for because a lot of the tag team division is face heavy, so... Because you got the Bucks, you got Best Friends, which are kind of tweeners if you think about it. Private Party, their faces. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, their faces. SCU, we'll call them tweeners, but the crowd loves them.
They can go in between. They can just go wherever they need to
go. So
it's
very face heavy, so it wouldn't surprise me
big time
if the Dark Order pulls this one out.
I'm going for the Dark Order on this one just because, this is their first real big outing kind of thing. So I mean, it's good to put them into the win column in order to make them a credible threat, especially with all the stuff they've been doing with their vignettes and their appearance at Double or Nothing. That it should be a good payoff for a win with such a strong backing and a lot of the character work they've been doing in the past couple months.
I'm gonna with the Dark Order on this one. Sorry, Best Friends. All right. Let's move on to the main part of our undercard discussion. Let's start with the Joshi match. It's Riho, and I cannot pronounce the other one's name. Sorry.
Hikaru Shida.
Shida, yes. I didn't even want to attempt butchering the name. Didn't even want to attempt it. It's not yet confirmed, but the strong indication this match will be the winner of this one will fill one of the 2 slots in the championship match on the first TV show. It hasn't been announced yet, but strong indication that this will be one of the 2 slots filled.
Okay.
They have been featuring Riho more. She's been on more of the shows. We haven't seen the other one since Double or Nothing. That was her only appearance, but she still stood out in that one.
Hikaru
still stood out. She's the one with the kendo sticks and stuff like that. So she did stand out. This one's a toss-up. My gut feeling, whoever goes in, whoever acts more of the heel will win this one. Because I'm assuming in the Battle Royal they're setting up Britt Baker for the win. Yeah. So that's...
Yeah, I'm not well versed in this feud or as much, so I'm gonna go with the person who I'm more familiar with, and that'd be Riho. Even though that's not saying a whole hell of a lot, just because I'm like I said, I'm not well versed
I
with these
know nothing of
competitors.
Joshi.
Yeah, hopefully that will change in the next couple months. But since Riho is the name that I recognize, I'm gonna go with Riho. But yeah, either way, either one, just as long as it's a good match, I'm down.
Like I said, whoever the heel is, because like I said, my pick for the Casino Battle Royal is Britt Baker, because they've been setting her up as like the face of the division for a while now.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that would not surprise me one bit. Who's your pick for the Casino Battle Royal?
It's tough, man.
Because
I mean,
duly noted, half the field is not even announced yet.
Pretty much. Like, there's a lot of people who can just jump in, but I don't think there's anybody that could be a surprise that's going to win this thing overall. Because I do believe, Britt Baker is in the forefront of this match, so it'd make the most sense for her to be the winner. But now that you got like guys like ladies like Jazz, Big Swole's in there, like it's a pretty stacked match.
Yeah.
So I mean, it almost kind of depends.
I would imagine both Kongs are going to be in the match. So.
Mm-hmm. And Teal Piper is now in, just with her name alone. That can make her a big contender and a big kind of elevation for her.
Priestley is probably going to be in the match and stuff like that, and so it's much more intriguing than the original Casino Battle Royal was, because once Pac went down at Double or Nothing, not showing up and stuff, you kind of knew Hangman Page was going to be slotted into that slot. So there's less intrigue with the Double or Nothing one, where there's more intrigue with this one because there's so much unpredictability.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
you're going with Britt. I'm going with Britt.
Britt Baker is what I'm going with. Yeah. All right, that does it for the undercard. So be it. Let's move on to the main card. Let's start with the grudge match of Cody versus Shawn Spears, which started with a headshot. But
if you watch any of our past episodes, you know.
I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that Payback's going to come with this one. There's going to be another chair shot to the head.
Oh, big time.
So,
yeah.
I'm kind of mentally preparing myself for the unnecessary headshots. But the interesting factor in this one is Tully Blanchard's in Shawn Spears' corner. Favorite target of the Four Horsemen in the day was Dusty Rhodes. So, symmetry. Makes all the sense in the world. So I'm assuming Dustin Rhodes is going to be in the corner of his brother for this one, because each side only gets one.
Yep.
All right. I'll let you start talking. Your thoughts on this match?
Okay. This one, very excited. I think this is going to be my dark horse match of the night. I think you got really two good. One good hand that the boss that's coming in, and since you guys are friends, you know that they're gonna lay in a couple of those shots a little bit harder, a little bit heavier, and with the story going in, it's actually very, very intriguing, very well thought out, and so I'm thinking this is gonna. I think this will devolve into some shenanigans, into some. I have this little feeling in the back of my head about MJF being a factor in not just because I like his position where he is right now, and I think he can build off of that and have a much more momentous moment that comes out if he ever turns on Cody. So I don't think it's here, but there's a little nagging thing that's telling me that it could happen here. But
he eventually has to turn on Cody eventually.
Oh, of course, eventually. I just hope that's still further down the line, and hope nothing comes of it this time, just because I know he's just been talking so much crap about Shawn Spears. I just have this feeling he's going to get involved, and hopefully it's just not in a negative way. And yeah, I just hope nothing happens with the Rhodes brothers. That I think they are solid together. And yeah, I just like. Has there been anything with the stipulations? Have they said
Nope,
anything?
just one person in each corner. That's all I've gotten.
Okay. So, yeah, so I wonder if this is just going to be a straight fight, or if this is going to devolve like the Rhodes brothers from Double or Nothing. Or get something that's a little bit hardcore, a little bit more hardcore-ness, but it would suit it. I think it would, because we've already started the feud with blood. We might as well continue it with some more blood.
No,
Sorry, John,
like I said, I don't mind blood as long as we don't go into Dr. Wagner versus Blue Demon Jr. territory. We'll be fine. That made Cody versus Dustin tame by comparison. I have a feeling you know what? I think via shenanigans, Spears is going to pick up the win, but Cody will get his revenge via chair shot after the bell and stuff like that. So that's my opinion on the match.
Yeah, you pretty much took the words out of my. You took the words out of my mouth. Like, that's exactly how I was thinking. That you need to get the heat. You need to get the heat more on Shawn Spears. He could be a top heel, just because MJF, he is a heel, but I think he's pretty liked just because he is so comedic and he is so good at being a heel. But I mean, yeah, you need to have that one that gets that nuclear heat that nobody likes. Like, he'd be the Ciampa of AEW.
He can be.
If you want to compare those.
And I don't think, especially with All Out, especially because I don't think they should follow the trend where the Elite wins basically every match, almost.
Exactly.
Because that's one of the knocks that people have against AEW is like, well, this is clearly just a project for the Elite just to get themselves over and stuff. But Cody seems to book himself into the most intriguing matches in the last, because you can consider All In the proto AEW, but he still had the most emotional match on the card that night. So.
Yeah, and then he has his match with his brother, and that became like the most another emotional match of that event. So he's doing really well on his booking, and let's just see if he can continue that trend and maybe change up the format.
Yeah, I'm going with Spears. Tully Blanchard's in your corner. Horseman versus a Road. Anytime a Horseman's around a Rhodes, you know something's going to happen, because he was the favorite target of the Horseman back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm going with Spears. I want a good old Canadian boy to take the W on this one.
Yep. So let's move on to I know people are probably going to get mad at me on this one.
I've heard beforehand about his comments, so yeah.
This match has been changed because it was supposed to be Moxley versus Omega. Now it's Pac versus Omega. But I'm going to go against the internet and say Kenny Omega is not doing it for me. I don't find him an interesting wrestler. I'm going against the Black T-shirt Brigade. I don't know what it is, but ever since he's come to AEW, it's just nothing has been clicking for me with him. I'm very confused of why he needs to be an executive vice president, because he can be clearly just a talent, unless he's the Japanese liaison and stuff. But he barely shows up for promotional stuff, like the Road to All Out and being the Elite. He's been very absent for a lot of those leading up to this thing, except for this last couple of weeks. I just don't know why they're pushing him as like the top guy. Like, I'll admit he is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. There's no denying his talent. But for me, Kenny Omega is very comparable to Bret Hart to me, where I never click with Bret Hart at all. And I admit Bret Hart was very technically gifted, but he just never clicked for me. I don't know. I'm just going against what the internet is. It's like, you have to like this person, but like, he's not clicking for me. I can't like somebody that is not clicking for me. Like Bret Hart growing up, I clicked more with Owen Hart than Bret Hart. Owen had more charisma and stuff like that. Like, he was more entertaining. Brett is very technically gifted, and same with Kenny Omega, but they're just not clicking for me. I can't explain it, and I'm going against the Black T-shirt brigade. And this is a problem that, especially his later time, I think it's more Best Bout Machine Kenny Omega that I have a problem with, where he's basically this unstoppable god of a wrestling machine that barely loses, and feel like it's just not clicking with me. Sorry, internet, it's just not clicking with me. I find him completely uninteresting as a performer. Like, he has cool moves, and that's it for me.
Usually, I'm the one that makes the hot takes and the show, but I think you just took my crown, man.
I don't want to not like Kenny Omega. He has all the things there. He's just not clicking for me. I don't know what it is. Maybe if he goes more heel-ish, especially, this is a very small sample size too. He's been on 3 events. Sorry, he's had really good matches, but just nothing has clicked for me otherwise. But just the entire package of Kenny Omega, and it dates back to his near the end of his New Japan days, where he seemed very disinterested with everything. He just only was concerned about putting on the best matches and stuff like that. His character completely disappeared, and he was just more concerned about putting on the matches. Like, his opponents in his last few matches have been more interesting to me than his actual performance. That's just me. I'm going. I know he's probably going to win because because it ties into what my picks for the main event's going to be anyway. So he's not clicking for me. It's a very small sample size, but
I'm fine. Yeah, it is subjective on the talent that you like. It's just after I probably would have agreed with you if this were last week, but I just watched the Being the Elite or the Road to All Out, one of the episodes that showed up this week, and he did the promo where he was cutting down Moxley, and he really showed the character that he's trying to portray is that this uber professional, almost like he's almost like a wrestling zealot. He's the one that he needs this. All he thinks about, all he breathes is wrestling. And if anyone does anything less than his standards, he finds them below or just not worth his time. And just the way he was presenting himself and the way he was talking about Moxley, I was like, okay, this is the kind of a Kenny Omega that I can really grasp my teeth in. Because, all he's been doing lately is just showing up, riding on the laurels of his New Japan run and hoping that this Western audience would ride that same train. But again, there's a lot of people, this is his introduction, and he hasn't really had much of a character development until now. So I really hope they push this narrative that Kenny Omega demands opponents that are on what he believes is his level, which could turn into a heel run, because I think it was very, very heel if it wasn't for Moxley already pushing that heel angle. So I'm really, really excited just because now I had my thoughts on how it would work with Moxley, but now I think now that we have Pac on there, it changes the dynamic almost completely. Because I don't know where this can go. It can go any other way. You can have Kenny come up with a win and just keep the status quo, or you have Pac win, and then you have that narrative that I brought up back at Double or Nothing, just right after Double or Nothing, where you have a Kenny Omega who is starting to question his role in this whole regime. Like, he's supposed to be the best bout man, but he's already lost big matches. It could still keep that narrative because we don't know if Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen count is, the larger canon of the AEW scene, but the 2 big matches that he's had on the biggest stages of the AEW, he's come out as a loser. That can really put something more into his character going into TV. So, but again, do you give Pac the rub or do you give Kenny the rub going into the next big phase of this new promotion.
Like, my mind can be swayed. It's just like, even with the promo on this week, it's like, it's leading into this. It was like too little, too late, because he barely showed up in promotional, except for just the last couple of weeks and stuff. Like, he just shows up randomly in like the BT mailbag and then just disappears for weeks on end, where you have more connection with Cody and the Bucks and stuff. So if he separates himself from the Elite and like becomes like a full-blown heel, like, my mind can be swayed. It's just the fact that the problem I have is because he's tied in with the Elite, so his characterization can be changed from one week to another with this. Like, he's like this wrestling god badass one week, and then it's like, oh, I'm here for the fans and stuff like that. Like, it's just, I need a bigger sample size than what we've been given for Kenny Omega in the last few months, or even the last year, since last year's G1, where the Elite basically disappeared from New Japan, and they were the top champions and stuff. They were barely on the shows. They seemed very disinterested because everybody knew their contracts were coming up. It's like, this has been a problem going back a year for me with Kenny Omega, where he just seems disinterested in everything, and everybody just basically jizzes their pants over because he's a very good wrestler.
I'll go against you with that one, especially with the G1, because I don't think it was necessarily them disinterested. I think it was that new regime came in for New Japan, and they were changing things up, and I think that probably rubbed them the wrong way. So maybe they were getting booked against the grain for what they're supposedly were supposed to be done, or probably what they were told beforehand. Because I don't know how much Gato had with this new promoters or whatever with New Japan that maybe changed all the plans for what they previously had made. So we don't know the whole story.
Even with the New Japan stuff, we never really got a resolution of the civil war within the Bullet Club. They just left on Twitter.
True.
So it just kind of, my problems with Kenny Omega have been dating back a year. Like, I liked his New Japan stuff up to the point where he became champion, because that was an interesting story. He couldn't defeat this one guy, and then he finally defeated. That was a great story. Then once he defeated it, he just kind of just coasted for the rest of the time that he was champion.
Okay.
That's just me.
Okay.
Like, that's the nice thing. I can change my mind on performers and stuff. Like, I've changed my mind. Like, I hated Baron Corbin, but I find him quite entertaining nowadays. So I can be changed. Yeah. I just need a bigger sample size. But unfortunately, we don't have any TV to get that bigger sample size. So currently, I'm very sour on Kenny Omega, and I hope I'm picking Pac to win. Even though I know he'll probably win, because it's Pac's future with AEW is still kind of questionable.
Yeah, and that's what has me a little bit confused on who I pick, because I don't know where Pac stands, and we all know Kenny's going to be there. But again, just having Kenny win and not putting this new guy coming in over just kind of sours it. But you know what? Just for the sake of being the opposite, I'll go with Kenny Omega. I may kick myself come Saturday, but I think it goes either way. But I mean, it always could be like shenanigans, and Moxley does something. I don't think he can do anything physical, or maybe just show up on a TV screen. But that's very, very WWE. And
I don't think he's allowed to have any contact whatsoever. So I don't even think he'll be. I don't think he'll even be in Chicago this weekend. So
yeah. It could be like a pre-taped kind of thing. He'd
probably more pre-taped, or even just like a sit-down interview with Jim Ross or something.
Who knows? But yeah, I'll go with Kenny, just because I think just having the last-minute addition of Pac doesn't really do anything, just because we don't know his status. So yeah, I'm going with Kenny.
All right, let's move on to the latter match. I'm not going to say it in Spanish because I'm terrible at that. The Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks for the AAA Tag Team titles. I'm going to say the Lucha Brothers, just because I think their TV thing when it comes September or October is questionable with AEW as well, and it makes no sense for the Bucks to because the Bucks have won all the U.S. matches that they've had, and the Lucha Brothers have won the U.S. one or the Mexico ones. So I'd imagine the Lucha Brothers are going to go over to retain the titles, but this being All Elite Wrestling could be another the Elite win every match type of situation. But I'm going with the Lucha Brothers just because specifically it makes sense because the tag title tournament's starting basically a month later, so I'm going with the Lucha Brothers on that one. It will be probably a fantastic match with with spots as like how did they not break their necks type situation where we're gonna be questioning if they're dead or not at the end of things. But I'm going with the Lucha Brothers.
Okay. See, and I had the same kind of thought with you.
Yeah, we would need
my old predictions from a couple months ago.
We need some closure.
It would essentially be like we need some sort of a closure, and I think just hot-potatoing it again doesn't make sense. But also, contrary to that, back to my old predictions, was the fact that I think they want to book the Bucks as the most powerful team in the division and the whole company. So to have them have a spotless record in AEW, only for them to put a new team over as the first AEW Tag Team Champions makes the most sense. So I mean, for them to win this makes sense in that front, but also for the Lucha Brothers to win it and retain makes more sense, just so that they can take it back to Mexico, they can drop the titles to whoever, and then if that leads the Lucha Brothers to be on AEW full time, then that warrants that. But I'm going to stick to my guns, to my original plan. I'm going with the Bucks. I think that's the story that they've been showing, that they've been telling, that they are an unstoppable force. They're the best tag team in the world, and they need to put someone over in order to have them on their level.
So we're split yet again, which is normal for these. Before we get into the main event, I forgot to mention something in the news that there is a shakeup at the announce table for AEW, and that is Tony Schiavone is joining the announce team for All Elite Wrestling, replacing Alex Marvez at the table. So it will be Tony Schiavone, JR, and Excalibur for sounds like the TV shows. I'm not sure about this weekend, but at least the TV shows.
Haven't they switched the teams on the pay-per-views? Like they have the two main guys, and they switch someone like the third man every hour or so.
With the buy-in stuff, it's usually a two-man group, and then JR joins for the main broadcast. That's the way it's been done for the first three.
Okay,
so
that's good to know. But great on Tony Schiavone. Like he still has it. Like just hearing him talk on podcast and some of those promos he's been able to cut on the shows. Like I think having those two voices together it just sounds like smooth jazz in my brain, and it has me really excited to hear these two voices that I've grown up with actually be in the same booth together, especially with Excalibur, how he's just fantastic and he's been killing it ever since he came onto the scene. It's like, holy crap, like this is a phenomenal team. I think these guys are all like, you have two veterans in there, and then you have this upstart who can learn a lot. I think you're going to get some really good chemistry building in and coming forward. Unfortunately for Marvez, I whenever I heard his commentary, I didn't really catch on to it a lot. And it felt like a couple of the matches that I had him on, he was on there with JR, it almost felt like JR kind of undercut him a lot of the time. Whenever Marvez would make a comment, he'd just like forget about it and just go on their own thing and just kind of just push him to the side. So that was kind of a shame. But again, I don't think his commentary is very, very strong in the outings. That this is a good call. And Marvez has been so I don't think he would actually match up with who they have already.
Yeah, he did. Just never seemed like a fit. The ones that he did call, just because he's very low. He's very low energy, in the other one, Excalibur is high energy, and Jim Ross is right in the middle. Like he can be high energy, but he can paint the picture of the
basically. Yeah.
So I forgot to mention that in news, but so Tony Schiavone joining the AEW broadcast team, and I believe he gets a producer role as well, or something like that. I can't remember. That was announced
cool.
yesterday. So let's journey into the main event for the AEW Championship. Can't call it a World Championship because it has to be defended across the world. So the AEW Championship, Chris Jericho.
So how was the Universal created if it hasn't been defended on Mars
the house
or
shows
Jupiter?
and stuff? So they classify it as a world title. Chris Jericho versus Hangman Page. The story since AEW started is Hangman Page wants to be the first AEW champion. He said it at the very first press conference that he will be the very first AEW champion. But I'm actually, believe it or not, thinking in line with something that you pitched early on at the Double or Nothing thing about it's kind of the reverse authority figure storyline, where the champion is the heel and the good guys are the authority. Where Chris Jericho basically, because he wants his thank you, so he'll go through people like Cody and anybody in the Elite because they are the authority until somebody beats him. But
he's still waiting for his thank you from January. Yeah. So I mean, I think that is the thread that's been continuing through everything in the journey promo, any tweet, anything he's done. He's still waiting for that thank you. So I think this is a thread that's going to continue on throughout. Like I think this is going to be his big time. He is the top guy in this promotion, and he needs to show it. And the fact that if he's the champion, I'm your first champion. I'm leading this company, and still waiting for my thank you. Very, very, very interesting going forward.
Yeah, I've come around to your way of thinking where he'll be the champion and then the authority will try to... But Jericho's the heel and the authority is the good guys in this whole thing, which is a weird twist on everything. Mm-hmm. And you called that back in May.
Right on that one. Oh my God. I really hope.
There's not much said to be about Jericho, but let's talk about Hangman Page at least. Mm-hmm. Like, this guy is a future world champ.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Like,
he's got good basics. He's got some high flying stuff in there too. So I mean, he's got the whole package. But I just think it's almost kind of like the same thing with Kenny Omega. So far, he's impressed, but he hasn't connected as hard as you should as the first world champion. Whereas Jericho, with that leading in, and he's already been showcasing it, especially with. So I think it makes more. This is a basically Hangman star making performance. Because I'm sure if he still fought Pac back in and he already be on a level where he is believable as a champion.
Let's look at it this way. Basically, there's no losers in this one. Like, Hangman Page comes out looking like a star. Chris Jericho is a legit world champion for your first champion. He'll bring, as much as Cody Rhodes hates the world casual fan, he'll bring in the casual viewer. Because if they see Chris Jericho, they'll be like, "Oh, Chris Jericho's here. I like Chris Jericho." But it's a win-win because Hangman comes out, and then if somehow they go with Hangman, Chris Jericho comes out on top because he put over a new up-and-coming star, and being the true professional that he is. So, like, everybody that comes out of this comes out as a winner in my books.
And see the thing that has me questioning it is the fact that Hangman has been calling it from the beginning, and I think he got his hands on the physical belt, or at least was in contact with it during Double or Nothing. So usually, wrestling math dictates like, oh yeah, he's jinxed himself for not being able to win.
If this was like a month ago, I probably would have kept my pick of Hangman being the first champion, but I'm gonna go with Jericho. It's just It's a pre-built-in story. Like both of them have pre-built-in stories because Hangman called it at the first press conference, but Jericho is Jericho, and he can be a shit taunting basically elite. Like this is their company, but he's the champion, and they have to respect him.
He is a force to topple going forward. Like he is the thread that, you know, all the faces that come up to challenge him, he is that mountain to climb, and he is the one that that people have to conquer. Whereas with Hangman, he's just, you know, the happy-go-lucky champion that just got the belt. So I think in order to push Hangman to be that champion, he's got to chase it, and Jericho is the perfect person to chase after.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Jericho.
Everyone knows, if you've been following me, I'm a Jericho-holic till a diehard Jericho-holic, so I'm going Jericho all the way.
Jericho's my favorite wrestler of all time. Just can't.
Yep, same here.
So it's
him and Bret Hart. They're neck.
Like I'll never. Bret Hart's another. It's a conversation for another day. But
yeah,
I'm not like he just.
Another day. Remember, it's another day. Another day. We're not going to get into it because
the problem with the Bret Hart thing is like, because you get more flack here because it's like, well, he's from Calgary. You have to like the local guys. Like you don't have to like.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Anyway,
he's part of our. If they made commercials from part of our heritage, he would be one of the episodes. Learn to respect.
That's All Out. That is this Saturday on pay-per-view. From the sold-out Sears Center in Chicago, Illinois. But not really Chicago. It's Schaumburg, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago, but it's Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Little bit of trivia there for you guys.
What do you... final thoughts on the upcoming pay-per-view?
This is going to be very interesting. It's going to be actually a really fun show. I'm hoping... especially the things that I hope they've learned from the past events, especially with their pre-show stuff. I really hope they've learned from some of the messiness of that, and we have a full, well thought out show from start to finish. Because I mean, that's been one of the things I've been a little bit weird having to deal with. And then I think the biggest criticism I've been seeing lately, it's just that whole all the members of the elite coming out with victories. So I really hope they change that narrative and start to really push the guys that need those pushes, because basically the elite don't need it, but it's good to have the faces of the company come out strong, but you still got to have other guys coming in. So I really hope we get to see some dark horses come up with victories and really get some new blood going over.
Yeah, they need a strong showing because basically the WWE has like 3 weeks on them for TV. They're going to be, for the first 3 weeks of NXT, they're going to be putting out basically takeover quality shows.
Big time. With Ciampa on the verge of coming back, like he on that week that AEW debuts, they may where Mick Foley wins the championship. Ciampa, everyone changes the channel. Like it could possibly happen.
Yeah,
so
the thing is, still no word on whether Sportsnet's going to air NXT or who's going to air AEW up here in Canada. So until we hear that, we're kind of still in the dark. Like all this amazing.
Yeah, it might just be one of those things where we just have to watch it through Twitter.
Yeah.
Updates.
But they need a strong showing. I expect them to deliver. They just can't have all the elite win, because that will just kind of, you can't have that going into TV and stuff like that. Have the elite just come out on top of everything. So. Like it was acceptable for Double or Nothing, and it was acceptable for All In last year because it was their show. But you're heading into TV, and you need to establish people other than yourselves as faces of the company and stuff. Otherwise, you're not going to be around very long.
Yeah, they will definitely be seeing the parallels with WCW.
All right, so that pretty much.
This is a pretty tame episode. This
I
is
think I
a
think we're
tamed episode
I think
for
we're
compared
keeping
to
it
All Out
tame because
one.
it's our first YouTube episode.
Yeah,
can't be dropping dick jokes and f bombs every 30 seconds like we usually do on the regular show. We'll keep it tame for
yeah.
the first episode out. But where can people find your good stuff, Bobby? See, I censored myself.
I think if I'm a good, well, I'm not. You can find all my good shit at radpencils.com. You can see it down below on one of the corners over here. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram through the little thing that's on either side of here. You can find me, if you're in Saskatoon, you can find me at Sask Expo in September. I think it's the 15th and the 16th, or 14th, 15th, 16th. Whatever that second weekend in September, that's where I'll be in Artist Alley, so you can come check my stuff out. But yeah, radpencils.com. That's the place that links all my stuff. You can find me. And this YouTube channel, if you're watching, please like, share, and subscribe. We're still trying to work our way to the 100 subs so we can make it a lot easier for people to find this channel. And if this becomes successful, we definitely want to keep doing the live streams for our monthly episodes. So please let us know. Jump in the comments and let us know what you think and how you feel about this this format. And we want to hear some feedback and make this better and make it bigger as much as we can.
Awesome. So the Wasting Your Time podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast. We host on SoundCloud, and we are now on iHeartRadio. So you can get the podcast there. A couple of logos down below. I'm kind of glad we didn't do our Marvel recap a couple weeks ago, because what's happened the last week or so. It's like, oh yeah, Spider-Man's going to be a huge piece of the MCU moving forward. Nope. So it's kind of good we did it. That's still on the books. We'll recap the first saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and clearly what's ahead for the future of it. I'm still under the assumption that I'm assuming they'll work out a deal with Sony. This is clearly negotiation tactics at its best. Because so that's coming up. You can join us again for another wrestling podcast. We got Clash of Champions coming up in 3 weeks. So it's 3 weeks.
Something like that, yeah.
Plus some other episodes. We're heading. It's going to get a lot busier for wrestling, because apparently there's one more AEW pay-per-view on the books for this year. Probably will be announced on Saturday.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So, yeah, that does it for the show. I would like to thank everybody for joining us on the YouTube stream. Probably there were some technical difficulties, but it's our first episode, so we'll try our best.
Yeah, don't be too liberal with the thumbs down button on us, please.
For the Wasting Your Time podcast, I would like to thank Bobby Duke for joining me as always for the wrestling. And I'm your...
Of course, thank you for having me.
I'm your host, John Wilson. Enjoy the pay-per-view on Saturday. And we will talk to you in 3 weeks for Clash of Champions.